Hey everybody. So I wanted to speak on the archetype of Cancer because according to the actual sky above and around our heads, the sun has moved into Cancer on the 17th of July only, and it will also only stay there until the 7th or 8th of August because the constellation of Cancer is a smaller one, so the sun moves through it faster. It's the same with Jupiter, by the way. Jupiter has recently moved into Cancer and it's going to be in there only for 3 months before it then joins into Leo. So I wanted to speak on this Cancer archetype because I find it a pretty interesting archetype and also learned actually from Stephen Forrest, an evolutionary astrologer, some really interesting perspective on this archetype, and which is that the Cancer is, it's a crab imagery. And if we imagine a crab, it's very, very soft and tender on the inside, but it has a hard shell. And so we often get this Cancer archetype as a very, very tender, soft, and incredibly strong feeling person or archetype. Can be extremely empathic, extremely compassionate, but also extremely overwhelmed by the sensitivity that it holds. And so the interesting thing though with this Cancer archetype is, as I just said, it has a shell, so it can protect itself in a way. And there's this beautiful imagery of imagining that the Cancer archetype also, because it's so sensitive, it adapts to the outside world, and it on one hand has its shell that protects it, and then it can even decorate this shell to the degree that it will fit in more easily, or to the degree that it puts on some kind of mask that works better for the environment that this person is living in. So this is also interesting to note. That's maybe because some Cancer people feel like a Leo person because they think according to the tropical they are a Leo, and then they can kind of make themselves believe it. But I've had an instance with a person where I gave a reading, and they always thought they were a Leo, and they really resonated with being a Cancer. There is and this has happened a few times, that there is some sense of exhalation in the system where it's like, oh my God, I don't have to be this sign, or I don't have to think that I am this sign. It can happen. So with this Cancer archetype though, as the crab grows in life and as the human also evolves in this lifetime, there comes times where there's a need to shed this shell, to let go of this shell. And this is obviously an extremely vulnerable and tender experience for the crab. So it's important for the crab that it has environments and timings where it does feel safe enough to let go of this old shell, because obviously for some time it will be extremely exposed and vulnerable. So in that time, the crab or the human benefits from having an environment where it feels very held. So we cannot open up to everybody or anybody at any time and everywhere. This is, pretty interesting for the Cancer archetype, I think. And nevertheless, it's important for its evolution that it allows itself to shed. And so grief can actually be a big part of that, because obviously if we let go of something that we've been wearing for a while, or something old, then there's always a grieving process involved as well. This is where this watery element also comes in, that there is a lot of watery emotions with this archetype. Oh, there's so much more to say, I just realized. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to say that through this continuous process of allowing ourselves to feel our deep emotions, to release the shells, to show ourselves vulnerably to those we feel safe enough to do so with, we obviously grow, and we grow in compassion and in empathy and in deep understanding for the deep emotional nature of the human experience as the Cancer archetype. So this is why the Cancer archetype is also correlated with the Mother archetype, because if it evolves, I would say in a wholesome way, then it can really become this mother archetype in the sense that it can hold the intensity of emotions that itself feels, or the human themselves feel, or people in their field feel. So yeah, these people, or this archetype, has also the potential to become a very, very caring archetype. And on that note, I can also say that the flip side of this is, or that the flip side of this caring thing is that they can become overly caring to other people in order to not have to face their own vulnerabilities. So, it's like this typical thing: if we don't deal with our own vulnerabilities, they will still be there. And then subconsciously, we attract people into our lives that might be very vulnerable and might be very needing of care. So in this more shadow expression of the Cancer archetype, we might not be able to give this care to ourselves or to receive this care, but the care need is still there. So we are kind of out giving or outsourcing it in a way to another, and can become overly caring to the degree that we don't need to face our own insecurities or vulnerabilities, or actually also because subconsciously we are looking to be able to face them, and we might find it useful or helpful to help another first. And like this, how we humans learn, we also learn by merging with another, or by through the mirror of another. So we might go into an experience of overly nurturing somebody else, but then becoming, for example, inspired or very touched by their vulnerability, and it helps us to access our own vulnerability more as well. This is what I wanted to say. Okay, so I hope this is useful information on the Cancer archetype that obviously applies to different parts of our lives, and it also applies to you or to us, even if we don't have the Sun in Cancer, because the whole birth chart holds a lot of information, and we all get touched by the different energies throughout our lives and throughout planetary cycles, eventually all the time anyway as well. So yeah, let's let these reflections be useful for us, I hope. All the best.